Hey everyone, GuardianE here with a first look at the Choose Your Legends 3 unit reveals. Originally I was going to do a full live reaction and first impression of the entire FEH Channel. I was in the middle of that, and then I realized sort of halfway through as I was going through and looking at the units themselves that people are probably only really going to be interested in the Choose Your Legends 3 analysis. The other game mode, it's fine, it's okay, but the signs point to it being kind of a nice diversion, a nice passive way to get income and other things, but the reality is that it doesn't look that interactive, and I don't know if people are going to be super interested in kind of an analysis of that. People are going to want to see the Choose Your Legends 3, and that's exactly what we're going to get into. So let's jump right into the first viewing, first reaction, and first analysis of those units. Alright, so Choose Your Legends. Oh wow, okay. Oh man. I see that silhouette on the right-hand side. Oh, mid-August. We shall, Faye, we shall. Queen of Nohr. Oh, wow. Light of Nohr. Oh, she looks great. I love that coat. The Queen of Nohr. She is a staff user. Oh, wow, she's a staff user. Okay. Oh, my God. Oh, this is something that I'd... Oh, she's a flyer. She's a flying staff user. This is something that I had wanted. Okay. Wow, this is... That makes Camilla Emblem so strong. Oh, my God. Okay, wait. We need to rewind. We need to rewind. I know, like, usually I do a blind playthrough, like, straight up. But, I know we do, like, usually a blind playthrough straight up, but I have to pause and see what her skills are. We can't just let that go. So her weapon is Sangreater. Okay, it's a 14 might weapon, range 2. Foe cannot counterattack, so it has built-in dazzling. If unit initiates combat, grants attack and speed +3 during combat. So she gets a pseudo Swift Sparrow, a Swift Sparrow 1, I guess. After combat, if unit attacked, inflicts gravity on target and foes within one space of the target. Okay, gravity. Gravity is a devastating effect. I mean, it can be. And probably one of the more interesting things, the fact that she is a flying... the fact that she is a flying staff user means she has access to so many utility weapons. I mean, Witchy Wand, for one thing, which is, again, a skill that really hasn't been matched in any specific way. There's, the Pulse Smoke skill, but, I mean, having something built into your weapon and having kind of sweep effect to it, like, staves have so much utility in this game, and that's something that I feel like is kind of missing in Camilla Emblem. So that utility, either that or a refresher, those are really only the two missing components to the team. So I'm actually thrilled by this. I know a lot of people were expecting an armor, which, bleh, I'm so glad she's not an armor. A lot of people were expecting her to be an axe user. We don't need another axe user. No, this is what we needed, and this is amazing. I'm actually thrilled about this. Okay, so because she placed second in the women's division, second placers usually only get a unique weapon. The rest of their skills are not unique to them. They're inheritable. So her weapon here is going to be unique to her. The skills that she comes with will not be. So this skill that's going to be inheritable is attack speed push 4. At start of combat, if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 25%, grants attack speed +7, but after combat, if unit attacked, deals 5 damage to the unit. That is really good. I mean, that's really good, especially, like, now that we have... So, for example, for the B slot, she's going to be... So, since she has dazzling effect on her staff, and if you're going to use her native staff, naturally, you're just going to be... Her B is default going to have to be Wrathful. Either she's going to come with Wrathful, or you're going to put it on her. And it's going to work perfectly, because she stacks on all this attack, which is amazing. She takes 5 damage after she attacks, but... all that means is that if you put on an assist on her for a self-heal, or renewal for the seal, so you can have, like, renewal on the seal to keep attack speed push going, or alternatively, just reinforce the offensive stats. But regardless, out of the gate, I'm actually very pleased. We'll just have to see, A, what her stat line is, and B, what the rest of her skills are. But, me personally, I feel as though staff users have a lot of longevity in the game. They just bring, again, so much utility to a team. They're able to do so many things. They have all these fun toys to play with. So obviously a little bit of the hype talking. I'm excited at the fact that she's a flyer, first of all, because that was one of my trepidations. The fact that she is a healer, she has basically an enhanced gravity with increased offensive power and built-in dazzling effect. I mean, it's really powerful. I mean, it's a powerful effect, and there's a reason why it is what it is. And again, and of course, based upon this is just going to be a loose speculation, but it would seem that she is very offensively oriented. I mean, she has access to flyer buffs, and both of her skills that are showcased here increase her attack and speed, which means that she's probably going to have a pretty solid offensive player phase stat line, which is very exciting to me. And again, if depending on the content, you can swap out her staff. So many powerful staves are available out there. Gravity for one, which is already built into her weapon, so you'll never have to swap into that. But there's also Pain Plus and the Savage Blow combinations that we've seen out there. There's also Witchy Wand that I mentioned for very unique shenanigans. There's even Trilemma. You can play around with Trilemma with her and do unique things with Trilemma. I mean, for me, this might be one of the best possible outcomes, and I'm actually thrilled about this. We'll see maybe when the hype dies down and I feel a little bit differently about it, but for now I am very happy, and we'll just see. I mean, we'll see how it goes. Let me back up here and take a look at her art again. So a lot of people suspected we would get a queenish variant. I mean, I think the other alternative would have been like her warrior's queen outfit, which a lot of people don't like as much. I mean, I like it, but I think this looks really well. It's regal. She's got this really flowing, majestic kind of coat that flows behind her. She's got this stylish purple ribbon that goes around the side. She's got, the crown. It looks great. I mean, I like the outfit. I'm pleased. I'm pretty pleased. And the art, obviously, Kozaki did a great job on the art itself. Yeah, no, I think they did an awesome job. Sorry to get sidetracked here, but I suspect that most people probably want to see my impressions of Camilla rather than, dwell too much on other aspects of this FEH channel. Let's take a look at her attacking art again. It looks great. It really does. It's clean, crisp, stylish, classy. Looks good. Really does. And keeps, in the spirit of Camilla with slight alterations. Yeah, really noble looking. I like it. It's great. So let's keep going and see what her sprite animation's like. Oh, she's got both of her arms in the air. Did you see that? All right, so enough of that. Let's move on. I'm sorry. I guess I've spent enough time on that. Eliwood here. Okay, Marquess, Pherae. Yeah, Wada Sachiko. Never a bad choice to do Eliwood, of course. He is kind of glowing. He does look good. He looks good. This art is... It's very classic looking. Okay. So he is going to be a lance user. Let's pause and take a look here. So Ninus's Ice Lance. It's effective against dragons and beasts. So he is a beast killer and a dragon killer at that. Grants speed +3. If unit initiates combat, grants attack speed defense res +4 during combat. Okay. Okay. Wow, that is... Wow, alright. That's swift everything on... Alright, so that means that if on initiation he gets +4 to all... I mean, there's no condition to that. That's just good. When he initiates on somebody, he's going to get +4 to all of his stats. I mean, that is solid. Not a lot of frills. It is what it is. But I think the real crux here is he gets damage effectiveness against two very threatening movement types, or weapon types in the game, beasts and dragons. So that's kind of why, the effect of initiating combat and granting all of those, the +4, is a little bit more subdued because he has effectiveness against two enemy types. So I think that is probably why. But I'm always wary when there's something that just gives raw numbers, and it's not like numbers that blow you away. So in terms of longevity, it concerns me when you see something and you basically are like, hey, that's pretty good. We're getting +4 to all of our stats. But my concern is that long term, in terms of longevity, how powerful is this going to be a year from now? And I can't really say. You could argue the same thing with Camilla that we just talked about, because she just gets basically a lot of offensive stat boosts along with Gravity Plus. But the difference there is that there aren't that many flying healers. Not only that, but healers themselves have more variety and options. Depending on Eliwood's stat line, I'm sure he's going to have good stats. I mean, there's no question really about that. But we have so many cavalry lancers in the game. So the weapon really needs to stand out. So I think, the way it stands out is the dual effectiveness for sure. We'll just have to see in the long term how that plays in. And we're going to get more the dragon train has not slowed. We keep getting more and more dragons. The beast train is not going to stop anytime soon. So I feel like, at least in the midterm, Eliwood's going to be a strong candidate, because he's going to be effective against all of these enemy types. And so that is a very powerful asset. Again, I'm just thinking in the long term, like a year from now, or a year and a half from now, or 2 years from now. How is this weapon going to look then? And I don't really know. And maybe it doesn't matter, because maybe his stat line will make up for it. But basically, he has his weapon, Swift Sparrow 3 as well for his A slot. If unit initiates combat, grants attack +6, speed +7. Swift Sparrow 3, not new. We've seen it. It just came out recently. It looks like he's going to have it. It's a powerful, powerful skill. I think that me personally, I would have liked to have seen him have a skill that increased all of his stats, or even was Sturdy Impact. And the reason why I say that is because his Ice Lance gives him +4 to all of his stats. So I would want his A slot to also take advantage of that, because there's a little bit of an inconsistency, because his Ice Lance gives him +4 to all of his stats, and Swift Sparrow 3 only gives him an enhancement to his offensive stats. So if he was going to be a strict offensive unit, you would want him to be like a Desperation user that initiates and you don't have to worry about counterattacks. If he's not going to be a Desperation user, then you would want him to have more balanced stats, have some defensive and some tankiness as well. But the problem is that Ice Lance only gets those bonuses on initiation. So it's not like he sits there and gets those bonuses on enemy phase. He has to be initiating. So there's a little bit of a disconnect, I guess. You can't predict how the unit is really going to play out until you see how they function in the meta. But Swift Sparrow almost seems like an odd choice to me, just based upon the bonuses that he gets for Ice Lance. But I mean, it's just a skill. You can swap out the skill for anything that you want. And Swift Sparrow 3 is definitely not a bad choice. Swift Sparrow 3 is like never going to be a bad choice. So that's what he comes with anyway. Let's go ahead and take a look at Eliwood's attack, art, and animation. He's going to be going ham on this dragon. And yeah, he looks really good. Looks dapper, flying in there. Let's see him take them out. Okay, so here's Micaiah. Oh, she looks good. Queen of Dawn. Oh, and she's got Kita Senri always does a great job on the art. She does look great. She really does. And she's got Yoon, like, as a ghost behind her. Okay, so let's see what she's bringing with her. Okay, so let's see what... So it looks like they're not going to be revealing the unique skills for the characters. So as I was mentioning with Camilla, the second placers get their own unique weapon. Usually the first placers get their unique weapon and their own unique skill. At least in Micaiah's case, they're not going to reveal what that skill is just yet. But, okay, so her weapon is going to be Light of Dawn. Looks like a green tome. 14 might weapon, range 2. It's effective against cavalry and armor, so in line with Micaiah, makes sense. Grants res +3, grants bonus to attack, speed, defense, res during combat equal to the current penalty on each of the target stats. Calculates each stat bonus independently. Okay, so we are seeing that more and more often. I mean, Yoon, for example, kind of played into that role too, and it makes sense that she would have that effect, right? Or a similar effect to take advantage of debuffs. You're basically doubling down on the debuffing ability of the unit. Although oddly enough, they don't show any of her debuffing abilities. If I had to guess, her unique skill is going to mass debuff in some huge and crippling way. That's just me speculating right now, but in order to synergize with her weapon, I suspect we're going to be seeing a lot of really powerful, maybe even the most powerful debuffs to stats that we've seen thus far with her own special and unique uninheritable skill that we don't see here. Her A slot is Attack Res Bond 4. This is a new skill, so the next tier of the bond skills. I really like the bond skills, sister to the solo skills. I think that they are powerful without being ridiculous, and they add some unique flavor to a team that wants to stick close together. But grants attack and res +7 to the unit and neutralize. Oh, okay, so there's an additional effect. Neutralizes units' penalties to attack and res during combat. Interesting. So she ignores debuffs on herself. Or, well, I should say the skill ignores debuffs. It's not a Micaiah exclusive thing. This is going to be inheritable. But that's interesting. If that's how they're going to play the bond skills, that's kudos, because I think that's really good. That actually also separates it from kind of the standard fare, because obviously the bond skills have a condition to them. And if you're going to meet that condition, you should get something else besides that bonus to stats. That's what we're seeing more and more often, stacking on effects. And the extra effect is perfect. I mean, it makes perfect sense. That also kind of low-key enhances skills that break formation, I would say, kind of like lunge and drag back and things like that. But regardless, that is a powerful skill. And like I said, I think they're hiding something with Micaiah. I think her unique skill is going to be something special. We'll have to see how that actually shakes out. Looking at her sprite on the map, it's adorable. You see like the ghost Yoon right next to her. She's like the ghost whisperer right here. So let's keep going. Let's play. See her engage on this. Yeah, no, she looks great. Graceful. Kita Senri always does a great job. Like I said, she has kind of giant sleeves. Okay, let's keep going. The attack animation. Okay, look at that celebration. All right, so here's Alm. I'm excited for Alm as well. Okay, there he is, Alm Imperial Ascent. And the art is done by Hidari. And it's pretty much a perfect pair for the Celica, I would say. That armor. Yeah, you know where the eyes go with this armor for sure. Alright, let's pause here. Draco Falchion. 16 might weapon, effective against dragons, attack +3 if number of foes within 2 spaces excluding target is greater than or equal to the number of allies within 2 spaces excluding unit, grants attack speed, defense, res +5 during combat. Alright, so... Okay, so it does seem like they're gonna have Alm be more like of a solo unit, which I don't know if I like that so much. They are introducing more and more of that archetype of unit, and I'm +5 to all stats in both phases is pretty good, and it's, especially if you think about it in the context of poor Eliwood that only got +4 to all stats if he initiated. Of course, the conditions are different, right? The conditions here is that he's solo versus Eliwood that can get all of the buffs from all of his allies. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know about the condition. But actually, let's look at Sen skill, because that could change my mind about how the condition activates. So it's his A-slot skill. So since it's an A-slot skill, it better be good, because A-slot skills are really important. So deals damage equal to 25% of unit's attack, but after combat, if unit attack deals 7 damage to unit. What? Deals damage equal to 25% of unit's attack? Really? So his A-slot skill just boosts his damage. It's not clear if that's true damage or not. After combat, if unit attack deals 7 damage to unit. So, okay, let's break that down. So, deal 7 damage to the unit, kind of like a Fury Tick effect, which can synergize with certain skills that need HP thresholds below a certain point. So that's actually not too much of a bad thing. So deals damage equal to 25% of unit's attack. We don't know if that's true damage or not. I feel like the text here lends itself towards true damage. 25% of a unit's attack is monstrous. 25% of the unit's attack is almost a draconic aura. Now it says of the unit's attack stat, which presumably, if it's not a mistranslation, that means it is basically 5% less of a draconic aura. And if you take into consideration his the typical stat line here of an offensive unit, and probably based upon the BST of these units, he'll probably have an attack of like 55 to 65 damage. So if we're looking at 55 to 65 attack, that means like around 15 damage from Send Scale alone, which is huge. Doubling means that you're getting 30. So 30 damage on a double, that's huge. I mean, that's some units almost their entire HP, and that's not factoring in his regular attack. Again, if it's true damage, I'm not so sure if it is or not. True damage, I feel, is a little overblown in the community, and the reason for that is because true damage only takes effect if your unit does 0 damage, like by default. So if initiating against an enemy, your unit would have normally done 0 damage. True damage will just tack on whatever the damage is. So in the effect of Carla, for example, who gets up to +7 true damage, if she attacks or initiates and she would have normally done 0 damage, she'll instead do 7 damage. So it's only in an instance where your unit does less than 0 damage, basically you're doing negative damage to an enemy and their defense, will true damage come into effect. And in that instance, you really shouldn't be attacking anyway, in almost every instance. So I don't know. But this, if it's true, I mean, this is monstrous. 13 true damage means that if Alm was attacking an enemy where he was doing basically negative 20 damage and he doubled on them, he would still do 30 damage. I mean, that is huge. Again, assuming that all of the other factors are correct. So Send Scale could be pretty amazing. 55 damage or 55 attack or so without an A slot, because this does take the place of the A slot. Of course, the seal that he's going to be using, you could have a stat boosting seal, of course. So that could lend itself or add to the damage dealt. But yeah, lots of very interesting implications. I like this skill. I like what it can do. And I'm eager to see if it works the way I think that it works. All right, let's keep going. Let's see Alm's attacking animation here. Draconic Aura. Not a chance. He looks great. I really got to say he looks great. I got that billowing cape behind him. Yeah, Hidari did him justice, and of course he looks like the perfect pair with Celica. I think that it would have been nice if they were different colors, but I mean the reality is they're both sword users, so I get it. You can't really get around that too much. There's only so much you can do. Would have been cool if they had like skills that kind of paired with each other, but maybe that's too much to ask, and maybe people wouldn't want that anyway because they don't want to be pigeonholed into using them together or anything like that. But anyway, he looks good. I gotta say, he looks great. Let's see this damage on this dragon. Oh, 130. Okay. Yeah. So they look great. They really do. Okay, so we'll get an introductory video later. Okay, well, I'll definitely be tuning in for sure. Right out of the gate, and I recognize fully that this is premature. But, rating them out of the gate, I would have to say that probably in terms of power rating and what they bring to the table, you can't just consider their skills. There's also the movement types. There's also just like what other things they have access to as a unit. Alm, I think, despite being a sword unit, is extremely powerful. And infantry has just gotten so many fun toys to play with in terms of special cooldown. Even though he's a sword unit, I really do think that he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. I think he has a lot, and Send Scale is going to be amazing. Micaiah, she honestly looks a little disappointing, but that's only because we haven't seen what her special skill is, and I am willing to bet that her special skill, whatever that skill is that's unique to her, is going to make her weapon amazing. I'm kind of banking on that, and I think keep an eye on Micaiah, because I think she's hiding a bit behind that smile. You think she's got a sweet smile there, but you know what? I have a sneaking suspicion that she's hiding something, and Yoon behind her, she knows too. She knows too. And then you've got Camilla. What can I say? First flying brave hero in the game. I thought that maybe if she were going to be a flying hero, she would bring kind of a new wave of buffs or unique buffs to flyers. Looks like she's going to have more standalone utility, which means that more people are going to be able to use her to her fullest. So that's great. Flying cleric is going to be strong no matter what. And I think that the staff that she comes with is going to be powerful. Her stat line lends itself to an offensive healer, which is Really still devastating. Like right now, it's still devastating in the meta, and functionally has a lot of versatility in terms of what skills and what weapons she can use. Eliwood, I'm holding back judgment on. I think he has potential. I think the fact that he has dual effectiveness is really the major draw for him, because alternatively, basically, what I don't want to see with Eliwood is I don't want him to be a Brave Roy. And don't get me wrong, Brave Roy is good, but Brave Roy also was probably the first of the legendary heroes to get overshadowed. Because for one thing, his weapon became inheritable by his daddy, and then for another thing, we got Sigbert, who basically, almost completely outclassed him. So again, my concern is not from a standpoint of like right now, but just longevity. And I think his weapon does have the dual effectiveness, and that is really what's going to be holding him firm to being useful in the future. I'm reserving judgment again, but first impressions, Alm and Camilla are way up there, I think. Surprise, surprise, I'm a little biased, I guess. Micaiah is a wild card. Depending on what her skill is, she could be the best of this group or the worst of this group or right in the middle of the pack, and we'll just have to see what she actually comes with. And then Eliwood, unfortunately, I've got to say, I think he's trailing behind. I think he's going to be good, but I think he's probably out of this bunch, probably going to be the worst of them. But that's just my impression. That's just my opinion, and that's based on seeing a weapon, a skill, and no stats. So take that with a grain of salt, of course. And of course, when we get the actual reveal video, we'll dive in a little bit deeper and take a closer look at each of these units. But art-wise, all look fantastic. There aren't any, weird blemishes on any of these characters, at least from my perspective. I think they kind of hit it out of the park. And I'm very, very excited for what they've revealed thus far. Okay, well, that is that. That's a lot of news, and now I completely understand. 16 minutes makes sense. I mean, she kind of dragged on a little bit during the other mode, which, honestly, I think I might just cut out of this video, because people are really only going to be interested in the Choose Your Legends analysis and viewing of the Choose Your Legends heroes, so I might just make that a video instead and cut out the other like, expedition. The expedition, it looks interesting, whatever, but it's passive gain. I mean, you're getting things passively. It's something that's been implemented in a lot of other mobile games out there, and it's sort of an odd thing that Fire Emblem hasn't implemented that until now, but we now have it, and it's nice. It's a nice little thing. Doesn't look too interactive, so I'm kind of reserving judgment on it. But yeah, so that is the first set of news on the Choose Your Legends heroes. I am extremely excited. Let me know if you're excited. Let me know if you're disappointed. Let me know if you disagree with me, if you think my analysis is crap. Let me know any of that in the comments below, what your thoughts are on the Choose Your Legends 3 heroes. Thus far, we'll be getting new news very shortly, I'm assuming, and we will certainly be amending our opinions as it goes along. So thank you so much for watching. Coming along for the ride with us to take a look at these units. Do appreciate you taking some time to do that. If you enjoyed, and hopefully you did, please feel free to leave us a like, comment, and subscribe to the channel for more Fire Emblem Heroes content. And until next time, let's protect those skies.